All right, today I'm going to show you how to create the fur and to create a brush to create the fur with. So the first thing we're going to do, if you're creating your cute furry monster, let's say this was your body, right? Let's go ahead and create a new layer, right? So let's say this was the body and you have the eyes and the feet. You can go ahead and lock that layer, and then we're going to create a new layer. If you get your layer palette up, you can go to Window, Layers, and just create a new layer by clicking the plus button right here. And you can double click on it and choose and rename it Fur. So now we're going to put the fur on the new layer. So to create a brush, right, to create the fur, you can use your ellipse tool and you can create something that looks like this, right? And then you can create, if you use the anchor point tool, you can click on it and it'll make it pointy. You can also use the direct selection tool, right, to pull it up a little bit. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the fill transparent. So I'm going to click on the none to make it transparent. And having it highlighted, right, if I click on it, let's turn this into a brush. So we're going to go to Window, Brushes. We're going to get our brush panel up, right? And then I'm going to click this plus button right here. So I'm in my brush panel, click right there. I'm going to select Art Brush, click OK, and then I'm going to click OK. Now I have a brush, right? And so what we're going to do now is we're going to put the fur on, right? And so what you're going to do is you're going to use the brush tool. You're going to select your brush that you just created, and I'm going to just delete this, right? And on that new layer right here, right, I'm going to just methodically put the fur, right? And I'm going to just change the stroke so that you can see it. Let's say maybe a black stroke, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go row by row and overlapping the fur, right? And I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I'm going to create fur, and you can overlap, and you're going to fill up the whole face with fur, right? On a new layer right here. Now from here, let's say this is all filled up and you got your fur. Now what we need to do is we need to color it in. So what we're going to do is we're going to select one of your pieces of fur, and then we're going to go to Select Same Appearance, and then it'll select all the fur, right? And then once you select all the fur, you're going to go to Object, Expand Appearance, and when you expand the appearance, right, now they're just regular shapes. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add a gradient to it, right? So I'm going to click right here, right? And I'm going to actually, we want to fill this with a gradient, right? So actually, let's go ahead and get our gradient box up, right? And we're going to color that in. You can click on this gradient. You can choose different color gradients. If you want to make a custom gradient, you can. But you see, I'm going to change that to about 90 degrees or negative 90 degrees or negative 90 degrees. And I'm just going to pull these off, and you can color them whatever color you want. So like, let's say I wanted the tips to be, yellow, and then the red, right, can be right here. So you can click, you want this type right here, right, the linear gradient. You want to change it to 90 or 95 so it's going up and down, not side to side. If I change this to 0, you can see that the fur is going side to side. We want it going up and down, right? So make sure you change it to 90 or negative 90. You can change the colors right here by clicking on it, right? And I'm just going to click right here, and I'm going to just adjust that just a little bit. And then from here, right, the bottom one right here, if I click on this, right, if I click change the opacity, I'm going to change the opacity to 0 so it blends in. So this is at 0 basically, and goes from 0% opacity to 100%. And then you can change this. You can move this slider up and down as you see fit. And then make sure you have the stroke off as well, right? And now when you take that off, right, you can see that the fur kind of blends into the red background, right? And so you need to use the colors that correspond to your color scheme. Okay.